I think maybe you're sensitive in a way where you're kind of seeing it. You haven't become callous to it, and it's a bit immobilizing to you. So I suppose what I want to share is, even though in one sense people will look at you and say this person, um, can't handle it or something, or whatever. In one sense, I think maybe you understand the world a little bit better than the rest of us, or maybe you're a little bit um, more sensitive than the rest of us, and that's a good thing. I want you to be able to get over this kind of anxiety that you have, and spiritual knowledge will address it. You need to really understand who you are. It's all the anxiety is based on the body and the mind, and your false ideas about who you are and who everybody else is. Try to understand your true nature. And if you do suffer, if your mind is caught in some kind of loop where you're trapped in this kind of suffering, then try to be able to endure that suffering as a witness. In other words, look at your own troubled mind as a witness, not as if the mind is you. And let that anxiety that you see within your own mind become a further impetus to really take shelter of Krishna, in whatever way you can. So seek the help that you can get, and understand that really we're all kind of like you. It's maybe more acute in you, but we all need to find that real shelter, that real truth.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Tokyo, Japan, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a Bhakti Yoga podcast with your host Raghunath and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. It's Sunday, December 7th, 2025. It's episode 1705. Good morning, beautiful people. We're actually here at Dominica's place. Dominica, our regular Zoomer, listener, family member. And we're here in Japan with her. She's an American living in Japan. We just had 2 Youth of Today shows. Yes, I know you think that's funny. I'm almost going to be 60 years old, and I'm playing in a band called Youth of Today. But who can understand crazy fate and how it takes you, where it takes you?
Well, you sound like you've been screaming your head off for a couple nights in a row.
2 nights in a row, scream my head off. I've lost my voice. Sorry, it's hard to listen to.
No, it's fine.
But the shows were out of control.
You sound like RFK.
I know. And I can't stand listening to him.
No,
I like him. I actually like him.
No, anyway.
But I can't stand listening to that scratchy voice.
That's what
I sound like right now, I know. But anyway, these shows were like incredible. Like, even Dominica, I invited Dominica to go.
How Dominica like the show?
Dominica's a civilian, meaning she knows nothing about hardcore. And I said, you should come to the show. And she's like, I don't want to go. I really don't like to go. I don't want to go.
It's like, come on, you can hang out with me on the side of the stage. I'm not so into it either. It'll be safe.
And Dominica was
so
like,
I convinced her.
That was so good. I was so excited.
I almost lost her to crowd surfing.
Yeah.
I would expect maybe that at a shelter show, but Youth of Today?
I was surprised, actually.
She's got a little hardcore in her.
Yeah.
You know what? I will say, it's the message. The message is a positive and uplifting, and it's very foundational to what we're doing in Bhakti,
And I think that's why you still have fans that are showing up to your shows, like so devoted after, 4 decades, I think.
It's insane. And I also met these beautiful young, they were young when I met them. Now they're in their 40s, but.
Still young.
Yeah, still young. But these second generation devotees whose parents are like pure devotees who I think they started the temple here. But they came to the Shelter show when they were 16. When Shelter played here in the 90s. And they brought prashad, and just goodies for the band, and they were just like sweet devotees. Kishori and Ananda, shout out to you, and also our old friend Radhika Raman, who's like
That's really something.
ultra intelligent musician. He's such an interesting life. You know, he escaped from Czechoslovakia when he was 17.
Very avant-garde character.
Avant-garde, a genius, a musical genius. I was like, who'd you escape with, your parents? He goes, oh, my friend. We just walked across these mountains, and I, somehow ended up in Germany, and he got admitted to Berklee School of Music because he's like a musical prodigy.
Good school.
Yeah, and he quit it practically immediately because he met a Hare Krishna. He met H.D. Goswami, and he's like, I want to be Hare Krishna.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been a great few days, and now we are going to the countryside tomorrow with Domenica's going to show us around. We said we want the countryside, we want ancient temples, and we want, hot springs. What are they called? Onsen? Onsen. And so Japan's famous for that, so we're going to spend a couple days doing that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Unwind a little bit, Ro. Get your voice back.
Get my voice back. There are important things to point out about Japanese culture. I made a little list for you.
I
They don't
love
scream.
Japan, by the way.
Really? Okay.
I think it's the best. Yeah.
First of all, almost no public trash cans, yet everything is impeccably clean. Interesting.
Just like New York.
Here's number 2. You don't ever tip. Ever. You don't tip.
No tipping, yeah.
Now it's like you hand the person everything's a freaking tip.
Yeah, it's true. Now you order from a computer and you still have to tip.
They want you to tip the computer.
Okay, all right.
The trains. No talking on the trains. Not only this, Kaustubha. No talking at the hardcore shows.
Get
Like
out.
after between bands, when it's like usually really loud and you're trying to sell merchandise, it's quiet. There's no loud music playing between the bands. Totally quiet. It's just like a quiet voice. It's like, is anybody? I walked out of the back. I walked out of the backstage. I was like, is anybody even here? It was like just everybody's just quiet.
And then you
They
come out there
line
like,
up for things in orderly.
Yeah. Even between the songs, it's quiet.
Yeah.
Song ends, totally quiet.
And even the people that were engaging with you when you were talking to the crowd, it wasn't the Japanese listeners. It was like the Canadian,
Some
the
Westerners.
American.
Yeah, screaming their head off. Vending machines everywhere. That's sort of interesting.
Look, Raghunath's doing a little tour guide here. He's taking notes.
Yeah.
What else?
Customer service. This is an interesting one. Customer service is very polite, but not friendly.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, it's not like a waiter in America where they're like, "Yeah, what's up? Where you from?" "Oh, I'm from there too." It's just very polite, but that's it. They're gonna back off.
It's reserved.
It's reserved.
They're a reserved culture, I think.
Yeah.
They have a bit of reserve.
Here's a nice Brahminical one, Kaustubha. You'd like no eating while walking.
Improper, huh?
No eating while walking.
Frowned upon?
Yeah. Yeah. Also, public trains, super quiet. No talking. You can't be like Americans talking on their phone. Can't do it.
All right.
Not welcome. Anyway, we're loving it.
Yeah.
Good.
What's up with you?
I've been writing, these days.
All right.
Yeah.
For you.
Thank you. Feeling good. Productive.
That's
And I go to Vrindavan on Wednesday.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That is exciting.
All right, Mary, you have any announcements for us?
I do have an announcement. First, we'll have the show Monday and Tuesday at the same time slot, 7 a.m. Eastern time.
Okay.
And then also our next round of Sage Group sessions, session 13, is starting Monday, January 5th, 2026. So you can ring in the new year in a new Sage Group. And we'll begin registration on Saturday, December 20th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. That'll be posted on the Wisdom of the Sages website.
Nice.
There you go.
Now, what's the deal with India in January? Is it all sold out? Because I heard like there was a last minute cancellation, then someone took that spot. Then there's another cancellation, someone took that spot. Is there any beds left in January for any of the trainings, wisdom training, teacher trainings, etc.?
We have one bed left.
One bed exclusively.
And that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
You hear that? Any of the trainings? We have one bed left. Right, Mara.
people have been
Immediately.
waitlisted, unwaitlisted. It's been nonstop.
Yeah. You know, we do have a very important announcement. We are going to Mayapur this year. We did not announce it yet. So I need the dates, Mara.
January 26th through February 2nd.
So it is our third annual Mayapur retreat. It's really only for people who've already sort of like accepted, like, this is my path. There are they're self-proclaimed card-carrying Krishna devotees, and we think you're going to get a lot out of it. It's a very, very reasonable price, and it's not on our website yet. Actually, is
I
it?
don't think so, but people have to email Tara. They can email raghu.pilgrimage@gmail.com.
raghu.pilgrimage@gmail.com and find out all the info.
See if
And
you
what a
can,
lot of people like to do is come to the Flower Festival in Mumbai, then fly with us.
yeah, to Calcutta.
Yeah, fly with us to Calcutta. Then they, sometimes just coming somewhere so far for a week is a little tough.
Yeah.
Or they're staying a few extra days, but that's the plan. Any info, hit us up ASAP.
Okay. Now we got a Q&A episode to do here, right, Rogan?
We're going to try our best to answer some cues.
Okay.
All right. Would you like me to read?
You got to read because my voice is
Okay.
killing me.
I'll read the first one that's anonymous.
Listen to Raghunath struggle through it.
All right.
What are you drinking there? Is that good for your throat? Some tea, huh?
Ginger tea.
Yeah.
There we
lemon.
go. There we're talking.
Nimbu.
No limbo in there? Okay.
All right. So this person writes, "Hello, I have a question I want to submit for the Q&A."
It's an anonymous question. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
They say, before I get into this, I want to preface by saying that the issue the question is about is something that has affected me in a serious way mentally. I'm taking diligent steps that include hospitalization and psychiatric treatment, but I still want to see this through the lens of Bhakti. I've been struggling with self-esteem issues throughout the year 2025. This manifests by comparing myself to others and feeling less than others. While this might seem like a classic case of envy, I take this to a whole nother level by comparing other people against each other who have nothing to do with me. For example, I knew one girl who advanced faster in the job market than another girl, despite starting later and having the same skill set. Another example can be found in dating and relationships. Because Western culture prizes being validated through romance and having your firsts as early as possible, I always get intimidated when I am attracted to someone who has had many experiences when I have had none. I also panic when I see someone I don't find attractive because I refuse to believe that there's inequality when it comes to dating. Again, it is not just me feeling bad about myself, it's also me feeling bad for others who might have had it worse. At times, it feels so bad that I feel like the world is only meant for certain people. It's painful, and it has a crippling effect on my gratitude practice. I have 99% of things to be grateful for in my life, but this issue of not being worthy renders it all useless. I love the idea that everyone is a spirit soul, but when you feel inferior, it's just hard to appreciate everything else. What is your perspective on how to untangle this knot? Hope you guys are able to answer this.
Oh, boy. That breaks my heart just hearing that.
When
Would you like to start, Roger?
No,
You want me to
I
go?
want
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Dear listener, it really did, there's, of course, Bhagavad Gita tells us that, there's this, it's such an interesting verse. But Krishna says, Mamai Bhangsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that the living entities in this material world, that we are all his fragmental parts. We're little parts of his spiritual energy. It's like so pure, so brilliant, so luminous, so special, so eternal, so indestructible. And then he says, but what is mana, shashtan indriyan with the six senses, which include the mind, right? So that what you're describing here is an acute case of living in the material world. In one sense, what you're struggling with, in one sense, most people are struggling with in one way or another. But in you, it's risen to this state where it's apparently like, it kind of has you somewhat immobilized in many cases, and so you suffer. It breaks my heart to hear of your suffering. And you're probably doing the right thing by getting the kind of treatment that you're getting and everything. I don't want to discourage you from that in any way, but you asked, like, give me like a Bhakti perspective on this. Give me a perspective from Gita, from Bhagavatam. And I think that hearing those perspectives, they can be healing, and they can help you even if you are suffering. Even if this is something that you struggle to get under control. In other words, and I'm no expert in psychology, in this type of psychology, but in one sense, all of this yoga is psychology, all this bhakti is psychology. It's all about trying to reprogram our mind in one way or another. And so although your mind is causing you such suffering, that can also, in some strange way, work in your advantage, because it has you convinced that, hopefully it has you convinced that this place is not meant to be your home. It reminds me of this story that Prabhupada once told, and this is a strange sounding story. But he said when he was, he went to one of these British schools in Calcutta. And the teacher had some weird kind of discipline thing going on. But he said when two boys would fight, this is definitely weird, but there's something about it that's actually revealing, He said if two boys in the class were fighting, the teacher would bring them up to the front, and he would order them to grab each other's ears, right? So the two kids are looking at each other. One has the other's ears in his hands and vice versa. And he'd say, now pull. Like he was kind of ordering them to pull on each other's ears to hurt each other. And what I understand is that he was just kind of saying, like, look how ridiculous it is. You guys are fighting. Why are you fighting? You're just hurting each other. Why would you even get involved in this? And so, now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. But let me say this, is that in a sense, that's what we're all doing. We're all competing with each other. We're all hurting one another in some way, and the reason is because there's a natural harmonious way that we're designed to live and we don't have to accept it. Krishna, the difference between the spiritual world, which is Vaikuntha, a world of no anxiety, and the material world, which is a realm of anxiety, is that in the spiritual realm, there's like a centrifugal or centripetal force, that revolves around, not just, we could say revolves around Krishna or revolves around God, but really it's revolving around Krishna's love. It's like everyone is moving in a cycle, moving in an orbit that's like an orbit of love, and they're feeling that connection, and there's no fear. We enter this world, and it's kind of like being an ant put in a jar with like 700 other ants, and then someone shakes up the jar. Like that's the material world, and so we're kind of, on one level or another, we may, if we learn how to treat one another a little bit better, be a little bit more generous, be a little bit more kind, we reap some good karma, and we enjoy the world a little bit more. But that burns off, and then we're getting all shaken up again, and we're biting one another, and we're fighting with one another. And I think maybe you're sensitive in a way where you're kind of seeing it. You haven't become callous to it, and it's a bit immobilizing to you. So I suppose what I want to share is, even though in one sense people will look at you and say this person can't handle it or something, or whatever, in one sense I think maybe you understand the world a little bit better than the rest of us, or maybe you're a little bit more sensitive than the rest of us, and that's a good thing. I want you to be able to get over this this kind of anxiety that you have. And spiritual knowledge will address it. You need to really understand who you are. It's all the anxiety is based on the body and the mind and your false ideas about who you are and who everybody else is. try to understand your true nature. And if you do suffer, if your mind is caught in some kind of loop where you're trapped in this kind of suffering, then try to be able to endure that suffering as a witness. In other words, look at your own troubled mind as a witness, not as if the mind is you. And let that anxiety that you see within your own mind become a further impetus to really take shelter of Krishna, in whatever way you can. So seek the help that you can get, and understand that really we're all kind of like you. It's maybe more acute in you, but we all need to find that real shelter, that real truth, and learn to let that arise in our awareness, and take shelter of that. And these are just some thoughts. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Raghu.
I'm just gonna put my twist on it. I can frame out what you're going through the bhakti lens, but you're definitely going to have to do your own work because you've had some trauma, and trauma in the age of the broken family, where the broken family is practically encouraged to break up, recommending breaking up with your partners. And we've all had some type of pain and some trauma and some hurt. And that tends to manifest in extremism of a pendulum type of mentality where I'm the best and I'm the worst. And when it's flipping to I'm the worst, there's so much self-loathing. And I see this again and again with people who've been through some type of, generally they've been through some type of hell. But even if they haven't, you still see this condition come up on a regular basis, and it manifests exactly how you're explaining it. And when we explain, like Kaustubha Prabhu was just quoting the 15th chapter, we are tiny fragmental parts. That's not what my self-loathing does not want me to hear, that I'm tiny and insignificant. It wants me to feel like, well, you got to bolster yourself. You got to show them who you are. You got to step into bigger shoes. You got to do bigger things in this world. But and so when we hear the reality that we're actually insignificant, who wants to hear that? I've been telling myself I'm insignificant my entire life. But we are insignificant, but we are valued. We are insignificant, but we find significance from rendering service to the whole. So this is the Vaishnava take on reality. And it's not just our take on reality, but it's a take on real joy, real happiness, real ananda. We don't find our happiness. This has been a reoccurring theme, I think, on the podcast. We don't find our happiness separate from God. All we find is a loneliness. Side note, I'd highly recommend you work with a sponsor with the BRG, because they become black belts at untying these knots in the mind of this really. Everyone who's suffering from some type of extreme, stay away from extremes. I got to be the best. I got to be a pure devotee. How about we just make a little bit of advancement today? I show up and I just try sincerely to hear my japa. If we can just sincerely take small steps forward and move away from the extremes, we're going to do a lot better. But what's going to happen with I lost my train of thought there, but
PRG?
No, pre-BRG. I was talking pre-BRG. Anyway.
PB&J?
PB&J, maybe that was it. But we get lost in this world of I am insignificant. So I say, but we find our value and our joy in our contribution, not in my isolating myself from the whole. So Krishna consciousness really spells it out nicely. We have to stay reconnected with Source to find our joy. But what's going to happen is, due to that warped lens we assumed from childhood, perhaps, then I'm going to be lost in this Maya, and it's going to make it very difficult for me to walk forward. But like Kaustubha was saying, you are a pure spirit soul, and you find joy in giving to others. And the fact is, the material world, in one sense, is not fair. Don't expect it to be fair. Everybody's got all different types of privileges. Not fair that she was born with a good family, I was born with a crazy family. Not born that she had like real cool, together, educated, enlightened parents, and I had to parent my parents. Not fair that she was born with great amounts of wealth and I was born with nothing. It's not fair that he's beautiful and I'm not that beautiful. Nothing's fair, but in one sense, it's all fair, because how we look at it in Bhakti is we get karma. Our karma becomes the recipe to get out of the illusion of material life. We use our karma to help us grow. We're not sitting here trying to fight our karma. We're going to use it to help us grow and to become liberated souls. So whatever you've got going right now with your past, present, it's going to be a beautiful future if you can see that and get out of this comparison trap that's so easily to get caught in. What other people think of you is none of your business. What you think of yourself, what God thinks of yourself, that's your business. That should be your mantra on a regular basis. Get out of the idea of comparing yourself to other people. Again, this stuff is like easily said. I can frame it all out according to what the Bhagavad Gita teaches. But the real thing is you got to work with a person on where that trauma was, and you got to identify that trauma. You got to go back and you got to forgive that trauma. You got to forgive that trauma, and we have to see God's hand. In God's hand. I don't want to say that God's responsible for our trauma, but we got to see God's greater plan with whatever we got dealt to us, because there is a much greater plan, and it's that greater plan in that pain that's going to propel us higher and higher. But what you'll see, especially for people going through that type of pain, is there's a loneliness. The soul is deeply, deeply lonely, and that is exacerbated if people who have gone through trauma and pain. And that loneliness, we tend to look for in anyone. We look for it in relationships. We become really needy. We look for it in that loneliness. We look for it in drugs or alcohol or spending money or so many different types of way we get validation in the material world. But that loneliness only gets, what's the word? Mitigated when I find that connection with Bhagavan. Because our loneliness is meant to be reposed in God, not meant in getting validation from this material world. There's nothing you'll have. There's no beautiful outfit, beautiful hair, beautiful face, beautiful legs, beautiful abs. There's not enough material validation that will ever satisfy your heart. We need to feel, the interesting thing is we are already valid. We are already valid because we're parts of God. We just forgot about it. And I'm looking for validation from the person to my left and the person to my right. And we end up becoming pathetic in the process. So just hearing this is not going to cure it, but it's going to at least create a map to get out of the jungle. I hope that's helpful. But again, I highly recommend going with BRG, finding someone who can help deal with that and work with them on a regular basis. That's why I always endorse BRG, Bhakti Recovery Group. It's because sometimes you go to a therapist, and I've been to therapists before too, and it's like 50 minutes in, you're digging up all your pain. And the therapist's like, okay, time's up. We'll see you next Tuesday. And you're like, are you freaking kidding? I'm about to pull a chandelier off the ceiling. How dare you going to just cut me off? I'm sorry, I got another coming in 10 minutes. But the people at BRG and the people who are sponsoring, they're committed. They're committed to recovery and to help and to healing. And it's not motivated by finances. It's motivated by love and care and this pretty lakshanam, this exchanging of love, which is revealing your heart in confidence and sharing in confidence. It's a beautiful thing they got going, and it's a necessity, I think, in Kali Yuga. I think that's why it's taking off so much. So we're with you. We're holding your hand through this. What do you think, Kaustubha? Was that okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaustubha.
Right back at you.
All right. Our next question comes from someone live here with us, Dominica.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Dominica's here. Come on down, Dominica. Yes. You know, she plays it off like she's an introvert. She's not. I caught her dancing around the apartment. How are you, dear?
Introverts may dance. They just do it in their apartment.
No. Here, get closer. You got to see. Yeah.
There she
You're not
is.
doing this for you. You're doing this for all the other people that have questions like you, Dominica. Now, Dominica's interesting, very interesting character. She's a very well-respected yoga teacher in this community. Been teaching yoga for 30 years.
Man.
And studied Vedanta, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And but had some emptiness there, in that some you could call it a loneliness in the heart. And it seems like until we find that original friend, the friend that really won't betray you, the heart will never land or rest. What is your? Would you say that's your story in Bhakti?
Yeah, I
Talk right, you got to talk right.
I was in my head, but I wasn't in my heart, and I wanted to really feel. I wanted to feel in my heart. I wanted something to touch my heart, and had been looking for love in all the wrong places.
I sing that song a lot too.
Why don't you both sing it for us right now?
Oh, I would if my voice was better.
Little duet here. It's kind of like Tammy and I don't know.
Captain and Tennille.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of a country duo.
Oh.
yeah. So I just wanted. I was looking for something to touch my heart, and I started just looking for podcasts, something to listen to that was interesting, and I came upon Wisdom of the Sages, and you guys touched my heart.
Oh.
Boom.
That was I don't remember when it was. About 4 years ago.
Pretty
Okay.
good.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's changed
You
her
met
whole
you at the
life.
Eco-Village.
Yeah, it has changed my life.
Adult children, adult child, and
Yeah, and I'm.
You're saying that
part of the
we became her
BRG
adult
and-
children?
Yeah.
no, I'm saying usually in the old days it was like you'd have to break it to your parents. Like
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I broke it to my parents by leaving various Krishna books around the house.
Yeah.
You know, and my parents were like, "The hell is he reading? Chant and be happy."
Mm.
The topmost yoga system. You know, easy journey to other planets.
That one
But-
concerned them.
But you know, she's got to break it to her daughter, 23-year-old daughter. Mom's a Hare Krishna.
Yeah, words out. But my mother, as a birthday gift, helped me to go to the kirtan training.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
And bought my harmonium.
That's
yeah.
very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it's-
So you have a question or
yes,
two?
I do have a question. So there's a lot of ritual and a lot of these, the tradition of bhakti is another thing I love, but a lot of these traditions are from very long ago, and the world is now a very different place. And I was just wondering, I know the principles are important, but do the rituals ever change to accommodate the circumstances of the modern world that we're in right now? And how do we adapt that? Because especially living in foreign countries and in different circumstances, certain things aren't available, like offering flowers all the time.
I like that. I like that.
This is
You know, you have to. Can I jump in that first?
Please go right
Kristen?
ahead.
You know, you got to be like when you bring in your car to get fixed, you got to make sure you go to an expert mechanic. And sometimes you're in a situation where, who knows, an expert mechanic, you're broken down somewhere. And if you had an expert mechanic with you, he'd be like, got to replace this, but we're in the middle of the desert. You know what I could do? I could use a rubber band in the meantime. I could use a piece of your belt and tie it here. And they just know how to sort of jimmy rig it so it will work and maybe even stay that way. And, you know, sometimes I've been to a mechanic and they'll say, don't worry about it. It was like an easy fix for me. and they see the bigger picture, they see the purpose of what the fix needed, and they adopt accordingly. But
Adapt, I think.
it can't be a junior mechanic. It's got to be a person who really understands the essence. So I think that's what the acharya is, or that's just what advanced devotees do. They're gonna cut through. They're gonna cut through all the periphery, and go right to the essence. And you have to find people that you have to be focused on the essence and not the details, right? The principles, not the details. And then you're going to find like a teacher that's going to be able to explain the principles, and that's going to resonate. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm getting caught up in the details. What's the essence of what I'm doing? And I think it's important for all of us too to always come to reflect. Why? What's the purpose behind this? What am I trying to cultivate this? Prabhupada says in Nectar of Instruction, are we doing this for? Are we following the rules and regulations just to follow the rules and regulations, or are we doing it for spiritual advancement? We want the rules and regulations to bring us to Krishna Prema. I want to do it for Krishna Prema. That's the only reason why there are rules or regulations. It's just like it's just like Japan. It's like they're, in one sense, Kaustubha, they're like the most Sattvic culture. They're organized. They're quiet. Today, me and Pranapriya, we went for a walk in the what was that, Meiji Park. It was just beautiful, beautiful park, and there was like a gravel road. There was nothing dirty about this road, but they were sweeping the road to sweep out the footprints to just make it clear. It looked like a long, peculiar homemade broom. It's just like everything is perfect. Everything is Sattvic. They're just missing God. It's like, and so we don't want to be great with our yamas and niyamas, but forget about God. It's meant to bring us to God, right? What's the supreme dharma, right?
Always remember Krishna, never forget him. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, well, I was going to quote the first canto. The
Oh,
supreme
Paro Dharma.
Paro dharma, the supreme dharma, is that by each soul comes to the loving, devotional service of the transcendental Lord. So we don't just want to be dharmic to be appropriate, responsible, etc. We want to have love of God. So yeah. What do you think about that mechanic analogy? You like that? That's super mechanic. You like that?
Excellent.
You like that word?
Excellent. And what you're saying is important. Yeah, that's so.
Okay, then you can use it.
Thank you.
You can say, I got it from Raghu.
All right. But, yeah, tradition's important. Details are important. But principles are more important. And tradition's not the goal, and the details aren't the goal, but the love that they are meant to serve is the goal. And so a spiritual path requires this practical understanding, This is one of the things I really appreciate about Srila Prabhupada. Imagine being all alone, being a representative of an ancient tradition, going to a place where people have zero idea about that tradition, but you know that at its essence, it's beautiful and it's powerful and it's brilliant and it's helpful, but it's a whole nother culture. And being able to say, I need to provide this for them in a way where they're going to understand it, and two, they're going to be able to practice it, and not just practice it externally or superficially, but practice it in such a way where it really is transformational. And then to be able to, and then I'm only have about 10 years to live, then they have to be able to teach it and spread it and practice it in my absence. And then you throw on top of that the bizarre, crazy world that we're living in. And I think Srila Prabhupada had such a clear understanding about bhakti and about the practice of bhakti. And then he was able to look at his audience in the Western world and provide for them ways that they could do these practices with the emphasis where it needs to be, adjusting it where it needs to be adjusted, holding on to it where it needs to be held on. Sometimes you hear from Prabhupada he sounds rather conservative. Sometimes you hear from Prabhupada he sounds very liberal, very accommodating. So as Raghunath was saying, it does take someone he used the word acharya. It takes someone who's got some real realization to be able to prescribe. Just like anybody just can't walk into a pharmacy and say, you know what, I'm looking at you and I think a little bit more of this. Why don't you take like 3 of these a day? It takes someone that really understands the medicine and really understands the condition of the patient. And in my vision, Prabhupada did that so well. Like you take, a lot of people, if you read our books, in one sense, it's as simple as go to Vrindavan, sit at the lotus feet of an advanced devotee and hear from them. That's it. That's what you do, Srila Prabhupada understood we would never thrive we need to do that for sure. But we would never thrive if we just did that. You read Bhagavad Gita and Krishna says, just think of me. But if you can't think of me, then practice thinking of me. And if you can't do that, well, then work for me. And Srila Prabhupada knew how to get everybody working. Working absorbed in Krishna, working with a heart full of affection and love for Krishna. And so he knew how to fine-tune it in such a way. I don't think none of his godbrothers, some of his godbrothers did go to the West before he did, and they didn't have success. I think one of the reasons Prabhupada went and had such success is he really knew just how to adjust the details for the audience. And, you mentioned like take the ritual of like deity seva, gathering flowers, this, that. There was an age where that type of temple seva was the Yuga Dharma. And people had access to like real quality ingredients, and you'd really offer all kinds of wonderful things, And we recognize that in this day and age, it's very difficult. It's difficult to get a good flower that has some fragrance. It's difficult to get a good piece of fruit. These things can be rough, At the same time, it's still a very potent practice, but the most essential practice for this age, and this is what Srila Prabhupada is telling us, and this is what Sri Chaitanya is telling us, is the chanting of the name. And that's something, what's so special about it, and the prayers about it, it doesn't require anything. Just chant it. And if you can't concentrate on it, if you have trouble concentrating on it, then do Sankirtan. Get together with everybody and get the music going, and that should help you get your mind absorbed in it. And so that becomes our most important, most fundamental practice, the Yuga Dharma, that's our Paro Dharma, in our Bhakti practice. But yeah, it's really important. I love, what I was writing about today, and it made me just think about it so much and contemplate it, is that when Srila Vyasadeva, he's anticipating the coming of the difficult age, the Kali Yuga, people's minds are going to be disturbed, and he's already written so many texts, but he's sitting there with this sense of despondency in his heart. Maybe I haven't glorified Bhakti enough. They may miss the point. And when he writes the Bhagavatam, he weaves into it many examples. It's like a repeating kind of pattern in the Bhagavatam. It's something that when we had Professor Ravi Gupta with us, Radhika Ramandas, he called it dharmic reversals. Where in my book, I think I'm calling it tradition reversals, where we see the standard traditional kind of formats turned upside down. And so, for instance, the classic example is of the wives of the Brahmanas, right? The Brahmanas, they were learned. They knew all the mantras. They knew all the rituals. They knew how to do everything just right. All the externals, they knew it all. But on the internal level, they didn't have it. And Bhagavatam comes along and says, you know what? It doesn't matter if you don't. You should try to do these things right. But what really matters is the heart. And so the wives of those Brahmanas, they didn't know the mantras. They didn't have all this training. But what they did was they cared for Krishna. And as soon as they knew Krishna wanted something, they went into action with a heart full of love and worked for him, and then made an offering of that and brought it to him with tears in their eyes. And the husbands, seeing this, they said, hold it, we've missed the whole point. Look at our wives, They've actually got what we're supposed to have. What we're supposed to exemplify, they're living it. And then they said these verses, to hell with our learning, to hell with our rituals, to hell with all the mantras that we know. We've missed the whole point. And so one way or another, we need to be able to find the practices that will bring the best out in us. They have to be practical. They really have to work. If they need to be adjusted, sometimes they need to be adjusted. And that's what gurus can do for us. Someone that really understands the path that we have faith in, that understands the path, that understands us. Right? Just like I was saying before, they understand the medicine, and they understand the condition of the patient, and then they can help adjust these details for us. In the end, whether we offer Krishna a flower that's full of fragrance, or the best thing that we have that has nothing, or even we're just offering it in our mind because we can't even get one, the most important thing, and what's actually accepted by Krishna, is the bhakti, is the devotion. So even if we handed him a banana peel, but meant to give him a banana, if it's done with devotion, he accepts that devotion. Right? And so these things can be adjusted, We need to know what the essence is.
And we're not whimsical about it. That's
Can't
why
be
we have
whimsical about it.
That's why we have teachers in our life.
Yeah. Tradition is such an interesting thing, right? Because when it's at its best, it's, when it's applied thoughtfully, it provides order and stability, and it shapes character, and it can protect a community's shared wisdom and really keep us aligned. But it's so easy that it can become misapplied.
Dogmatic.
And when dogmatic, it works against itself. It can actually work against itself. So that's the fine line we have to walk, and particularly in the world that we live in, it's challenging. But let's do it. We got to find devotees. When we find devotees that are alive, that are happy and enthusiastic and practicing well and kind to us and affectionate to us, and then we can be like, okay, it's working here. I can see that the fruits, are manifesting. These are people they're excited about hearing about Krishna, and they've lost their interest in the material things. This is really working here, and if I can relate to these people, and they're kind and affectionate to me, they can help me. Then I found my community, and within that community, I should be able to find the guidance that I need to make the adjustments in the right way, not in a whimsical way, but in a practical, thoughtful way.
Love that.
All right.
Love that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Was that good?
Thank you.
That was very.
Domenico's going to read the next question. All right.
Oh yes,
It's your question?
Yes, I had another question about guru, and I've heard questions about choosing Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru, and about that. But I was wondering about, from the perspective of a guru, a Diksha Guru or Shiksha Guru, what is that like? Or someone who's going in that direction, somebody who is a teacher and is teaching these bhakti and has a following. How is that for them? How do they guide themselves, or what are their considerations to go down that path? Both of you as teachers and seem to be going down that path. So I was wondering if you could share some of your insights and experiences.
Kaustubha, can I jump in first? And then I would
Please
love for
do.
you to ice this up. We are ordered to be gurus in one sense. Means we got to take all this stuff very seriously and apply it to our life. And then it's our duty to pay it forward. It's not just whether we're choosing it or not. We all have some type of influence, and we all want to set the best standard of the practice, and that's the accountability to live up to a better standard. So in one sense, we're all going to be teaching, because the way we live is what we teach, and if we want to practice what we preach. So it can get a little bit more official, But the real thing is we just become vehicles for this divine message to everybody we touch. And whether we want to take it on like as a I mean, you take it on as a job, so to speak, where you're an official guru with whatever institution you're in. I feel bad for guru people who take that position because they're putting a target on their back, personally. Because whenever there's leaders, people just like to take down leaders. That's part of it, leading. You know, you get fault finders, you get critics, you get gossip, you get Facebook cancel culture, whatever it is. But I think a real genuine guru is not interested in being the guru. He wants to expand his guru's mission or her guru's mission. So I think on the side of the teacher, we always want to be giving this information to everybody. We got to make that our life's mission. How can I give this to other people? Because and first we have to become very happy in bhakti. We have to become joyful in our service, and then it naturally explodes out of our heart when people will naturally be attracted to that because people really just want happiness. They just want to be happy more than anything. They want to feel connected, and you can give that. I know you personally are giving that, and you can give that. But I think that's got to become our complete dedication. How can I give this to other people? And how can I do it in the most refined way possible? You know, that's important. As far as the students, once they're committed, they're initiated devotees in my eyes. Like once you're committed to the path, that's the initiation. It's not a ritual. So once you're sincere, Krishna's going to send you the teachers. He's going to send you a whole fleet of teachers to bring you higher at different seasons of your life, too. There'll be different teachers. But as far as teaching goes, you just make a commitment. Once you get inspired enough, you will naturally want to give it to other people. And, and then that means we will, as teachers, you know, myself included, I always have to check in with my teachers. Tweak me. Use me. In the material world, we don't like to be used. In the spiritual world, we love being used. Use me as much as you want. How can I be of service to you? You know, and tweak me. Tell where I'm off. And you know, when we're new to this game, we're way off. We're driving in the wrong direction. You know, but as we've been playing this game and following more and more and applying it more and more, then the master artisan, the master, you know, he starts to really refine us by, you know, pointing out some shortcomings that are stopping the flow of bhakti that's getting passed down through the parampara, you know. So yeah, get inspired and give it away. What do you think, Kaustubhaji? Kaustubhaji is going into this position too as a, you know, official initiating guru within the Krishna consciousness, which is a very, very tall order, and it comes with a lot of, I'm sure you probably experience already, you know, it comes with a lot of great joy. It's like being a parent. Like being the parent's the best job ever. Yeah. You know, and then it was like, I mean, you're holding a crying kid, a screaming kid, your teenager smoking pot, and you're losing your mind, and your other kid just got arrested for something. The other one kid's a straight A student. So it comes with a lot of mixed emotions, you know. What's your experience already, Kaustubha?
If we're speaking I want to be clear. I'm kind of going through the official process within the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So I'm not. You know, I'm going through a process to receive their blessing, you know, on the institutional level to serve in that role. But already for some time, I've had disciples, you know, that are waiting for that time when that approval comes. And it's not, I'll speak at least from my own perspective, it's not something that I aspired to do. It's not something that I wanted to do. It's not something that you plan to do. It just kind of, you end up there. And when there are really important devotees in your life saying, no, this is what you do now with your life. This is what your community, you know, this is how you serve your community. It's important that you do this. Then you do it. And because the role of guru, it's unique, because you'll hear Prabhupada speak about it in two different ways. You'll hear him say, it's a very simple thing. You simply repeat what you've heard, In one sense, it is as simple as that. If you've been practicing this for decades, you should be able to learn what it is and be able to apply it and then be able to share it. And in one sense, it is as simple as that. In another sense, so much that we hear about the gurus, you become that representative that's responsible for the spiritual life. And how can your disciple or your student, how can they get Krishna prema if you don't have it yourself? Or if you're not moving to it, how can you bring them along? And are you going to be a fake? Are you going to be a phony? Or are you going to do this in an authentic way? And so it's a bit terrifying, actually, in the sense that it's very sober. It's very sobering. Let me do this, and let me not be not as a fake, but let me do this with really humbly, really saying, what is my qualification? My only qualification is that I follow, But what Raghunath was saying, it's funny because, Raghunath, what you said is exactly some of the emotions that I felt. It's a very intimate relationship. And even if the externals are different, like the guru and the disciple may be from two different worlds. They may have very different lifestyles. They may be from different parts of the world, different backgrounds. But if they share an internal mood, and if they really share the internal goal, then there's a connection. Then there's something that they really share in common, and there's an intimacy based around that. And when a disciple has the real mood of a disciple, the guru cannot help but have their heart melt. And it is like being a parent. Prabhupada would say all the time, all these boys and girls, they're all my sons and daughters, he would say like that. And honestly, I do feel that feeling. I do feel pride in my heart when my disciples do well. I feel deep appreciation when I see that they're trying, sincerely trying. I worry about them like a parent worries. So it is a vulnerable, it is a vulnerable position, but love is a vulnerable situation, and so all of honestly, it's a blend of a lot of things. It's a blend of a lot of things, but ultimately, what it is, it's a very serious, sobering responsibility, and you do it. You just do it. You just. There's definitely a part of me that was saying, "Oh, life would just be so much easier. Just be a teacher." So much easier. But you do it because you reach a point in your life. This is a point we all have to reach in our lives one way or another, where your life isn't yours anymore. Your life is just in the hands of Guru and Krishna, and you do what's needed to serve. And then there's no point in getting mental about it at that point. You do what's needed. And it's actually the only free way to live. It sounds like it's actually bondage, but it's actually when you're beyond, the dictations and all the whims of the mind, and you're like, what is there for me to do? I'll do it. And then when you live like that, then the funny thing is, you're no longer a victim to the externals. It doesn't matter if it's hot or cold. Doesn't matter if you're in India or America. Doesn't matter if this happens or that happens. You're doing what you do. That's what surrender means, is I'll accept what's favorable, I'll reject what's unfavorable. That's it. That's how a guru has to live. That's how any devotee really is meant to come to that stage. And when you're there, then you accept it as service. And you take real care not to misuse the position. That's the grave side to it. That's the really serious side to it. I don't know, those are just some random ramblings. I'm sorry if they're disorganized.
Very good.
Thank you both for your answer. That was very enlightening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
very much.
Dominica. Thanks for being you. You're already doing. She's a big community of students here. Inspires in Japan. I'm so happy that you're excited in your bhakti too, because it's transferable. Bhakti's caught.
She's great. Just like that, it's you meet someone like Dominica. It's just like, oh, how can you not have your heart melt a little, right?
That's it. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Remember, Mayapur is happening. For the dates that Miss Prana,
January 26th through February 2nd.
come with us to Mayapur for a week. It is the land of Kirtan. And we're going to go to the Ganga, eat incredible food, Bengali cooking. See the
Krishna
beautiful
miracle the
temple.
other day in Mayapur, right?
And there's a Krishna miracle. We don't have time to tell it right now, but miracles do happen. It's a show of miracles, actually, this podcast. Thanks for everybody joining us. We're going to be on tomorrow, same time. So please join us. Tell your friends. Because it's 9 o'clock at night here, 10 o'clock here in Japan time. I'm on a crazy sleeping schedule. This is the time I get on stage. So now I'm going to try to go to bed.
Oh, hey, you know what? Did you guys see that our Chapuji was on television? She did her television interview. Did you see it?
No.
Oh, yeah, we should share the link in today's description. But she did an unbelievably good job. She was like, boom, like just... They were firing these questions at her real fast, and she was just like handling them like a pro.
Unmute yourself, Chapu. Let's hear your story.
How'd
How'd it go? How'd it go? What did you do?
It was really quick. I mean, of course, we rehearsed the day before. Kaustubha, Raghu, and I were rehearsing like every scenario. What about this? What about that? But it was really quick, and they found me through social media. I've been posting like reels, sharing wisdom. And they say, well, we found a video. We want you on television. We think it's a very good thing what you're doing. And I was there. 20 minutes of
It was like
Bhakti wisdom.
What was it, like a Venezuelan talk show?
Like Merv
Yeah,
Griffin on
yeah.
Venezuela.
Griffin from Venezuela.
I don't know what that means, but it was
Manuel
like a
Griffin.
small show. No, like a small show. Yeah, but it was really good, and I got a really good feedback.
Super cool.
It was...
Thanks
Robbie,
to
you've
you.
been so proud. It's like this guy was like, he was really nice, but he's firing fast questions at her about spirituality and religion and the difference and stuff. And she was like, boom, boom, boom. She's like right on it.
Super
I was-
good.
I was impressed.
exciting.
I was very impressed.
Yeah, it's scary, but I took it as a service to Srila Prabhupada because I remember an interview he did, and he was, explaining with such confidence. It's like, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it for him. So I went, and it felt so good.
Nice.
We'll put the link in the thing today in the description of the show, and I'll send it to you guys too.
Okay, great.
And you never know who heard that, because those go out to so many different
right.
people. You never know
Right.
whose heart you touch when you do things on big media like this. Congratulations.
And you can, on the YouTube video, you can click it for English subtitles or other language subtitles. See what she said.
Okay, everybody, it is a beautiful day. For a beautiful day. Call some Christian miracles into your life. See the miracle right in front of you. Maha Hari Bol. Let the magic continue to flow.